Hello, my friends. Nice to see you again. I'm ready to show you a new set of Karelian wonders. Today, we'll see both fake and real historical artifacts, meet amiable local people, and even visit a movie set. I bet the trip will amuse you. Hit like and beware of the bears.
We are now near a rock on which the ancient people knocked out the image of bunnies. Actually, it's not the ancients, it is Sergei Gapanovich. He will come now and tell us more about this wall, but it's actually a very good precedent where the new point of attraction is created. Russians very bad at it. We actually are good at taking pride in and selling some historical legacy, an ancient temple or some natural wonders, but to do something new, to do something from the ground up that would be a cool attraction that is worth going to see is extremely rare. In this case, this site with bunnies is just awesome. You should come here to have a look and take pictures. We are going to discuss with the author how it could be done here. How did this all happen?
Accidentally, as usual.
How many bunnies are there?
Now it's 600, it's going to be 1,000.
1,000 bunnies? Did you do this all by yourself?
With people, a person can visit the website, support the project that covers some expenses. Before the pandemic, I did it on my own money.
And what's the fate of this all now?
Every bunny has a number, and it's assigned to someone, so you can even go to the website to see whose it is.
So you can have your own bunny here? How much does it cost?
Around 65 bucks.
So you can have a bunny for 65 bucks?
Yes, for many centuries.
How long does it take to make one hare?
Just do job without preparation, an hour and a half.
How long have you been doing all this for?
It's my 3rd year doing this.
The authorities aren't helping you now.
No, not at all.
But nevertheless, locals here who deal with tourism told us right away that we should come here. This has already become a new tourist attraction.
Look, it's free. It's unique for Russia. It's unique for the world. Because you won't find anything like this anymore. It was important for me that it was free. It is very expensive to travel in Karelia. I mean, you get to one place to another to the third one. In the end, it turns out to be a lot. We counted and it's cheaper for us to go elsewhere.
And the inscriptions were here before, right?
No, they started appearing recently. Some fools drew something last year. But I found a Karelian witch and she cursed everyone and everything.
The best protection against vandals is to find a Karelian witch who curses everyone. Dear Lena, I don't know who you are, but for some reason Stas devoted to you first. Then some bunny, which means it looks like your partners are changing. Please, there's not enough space here for all your partners. There are no other bunnies here. Find yourself another rock. Sergei, can you carve out a bunny for Lena so that they'll settle down and stop?
No, I can only make a gravestone for Lena. They've stole all my planks. There was scaffold here, there were planks, now there's nothing. Oh dear.
Another thing about all these inscriptions is that if a normal, decent girl sees that her boyfriend drew something as bad, she will tell him to go straight away. So this whole vandalism story is strange. And here we have a hare with a skull on it. It's a warning for vandals. I first thought it was just glued here or made of concrete. But no, it was all carved into the rock. You can even touch the inside here. It's amazing work. Kuzova archipelago consists of 16 small islands in the White Sea near the town of Kem. People come here to hike, to fish, and to have a rest on the seashore, to swim, go scuba diving and see monuments of ancient Sami. We have landed on a German island, opposite is a Russian island. But it is better not to go there, since like any Russian place should, there are bears living there. We observed 6 climatic zones on this island during the trip, almost. Below you can see green meadows, these are zones where succulents grow. This is a plant that can feed on salt water. And below is a zone of where edibles grow. Things that we add to salads, sea parsley, sea onion, golden root, peas, willow herb. Everything is edible in these coastal meadows.
groves. Then naturally you see an area of taiga, i.e. forests that are mostly spruce. In places that are sheltered by winds, all the way over there are deciduous groves, which means that you get into the climate of the middle zone as well. Under your feet on the granite there are lichens. This is what the Arctic tundra looks like. You can see such stands of crooked wood and it looks like forest tundra, but it's not. And there are also green glades everywhere. When we will ascend there will be more of them. It reminds of tundra. So it is such a unique archipelago which concentrates a lot of beauty in one place. When they made an expert assessment on these islands, according to the assessment, 42% of territories here on the archipelago are of the highest category of aesthetic value. I didn't even know that such a thing exists. It means that everywhere you turn it's very beautiful.
Have we climbed 70 meters up?
About that, about 60 meters I think. We will be going up this way. It's 126 meters up there. There are some stairs along the way and there will be 2 places where we will have to use physical strength. I hope no one has a fear of heights. Let's go for the excitement.
Here we have our dear Kir climbing up. Kir, why aren't you filming? Can you climb and film at the same time? It's always harder for the cameraman because while we are enjoying this beauty, they choose the right camera angle.
Further up here, the path is quite narrow, so hold on to the rock with your right hand and shift your center of gravity here and walk normally. I don't see any particular height fear in Kir's eyes.
It's a brown-capped boletus. A wonderful mushroom. Come and pick mushrooms with us.
There's plenty of such goodies here. No one picked them. Even the tourists downstairs are bored with mushrooms. Let's go to the highest point. Careful, it's slippery here. Watch your step.
Well, that's it, the highest point here.
From here we have almost all-around view. The Russian island is a bit higher, but there's deep taiga. It's impossible to get through. Brown bears live there.
Wow.
2 of them. What can you see from here? You can see the coastline, Camp Town, and the northernmost part of it, northern Rombak. Nearest to us is Tuparuki and this set of archipelagos and with Camp Sea cliffs. And there are 24 kilometers of islands. To the north there is the open part of the sea, the White Sea Basin. There is a long chain of islands in one line. This is Solovetsky archipelago. It is 24 kilometers far from here. We are exactly in the middle between Kam and Solovki now. And if you look to the southeast, there's such a long strip of land over there. Zhuzhmuy Islands, which are 45 kilometers away, so even in a bad light the visibility is 45 kilometers from the highest point from here.
Solovetsky Islands, or simply Solovki, are the most famous Russian archipelago. Humans stepped on this earth as far back as 600 years before Christmas. In the 15th century, a monastic settlement appeared here, and 100 years later the islands were used as a place of exile. In 1920, the Red Army liquidated the monastery, and later the Solovetsky Special Purpose Camp appeared here. 14 years of camp existence, 7.5 thousand people died here. This is an average of 2 people a day. Religious activity returned to Solovki in 1990, and 2 years later the islands were among the first in Russia to be included in the UNESCO World Heritage list. They were surpassed only by the center of St. Petersburg, the Kremlin and the Kizhi Island that we have already visited. By the way, until 1930, Solovetsky Islands were part of Karelia, but then they joined in Arkhangelsk region, to which they belong now.
This construction here in the north is called Seid. Seid is a Sami word. Seida is a spirit. To the Sami, like pagans, believed the stones were animated. There were over 800 of them found here. It's one of the largest clusters of these constructions. And distinctive feature of these seeds is principle of unstable equilibrium. That is, if we were to dig out this pebble from here, it would simply roll down. That's the trick. We don't know what it is, or why, so you see the principle of unstable equilibrium. Why on this archipelago there are so many stone buildings? Because look there, you see Solovetsky? It is the richest hunting and fishing grounds on the region. As a matter of fact, the development of the White Sea began in the west from that side. So when people were sailing coastal, they reached this point. It is the last point before going to open sea. And before dangerous travel, it's very dangerous there. It is the White Sea. It is the basin of the third category of difficulty, and so sacrifices were made. So they put up an altar, roughly speaking, and made food sacrifices, fat, bones of seals, fish, and so on. That is why they've done it here, because it is the extreme point in relation to the open sea and the Solovetsky. If somebody needs a rope, we'll go by the rope. Although it's not that sharp, so you can go by foot all.
Plus, it's not far to fall.
There's really nowhere to fall. Oh, there he is. There's the hare running. There he sits by the rock.
That's where I filmed the bear. I felt the bear standing behind me. I turned around and turned on the camera. He stood there on that rock and went, ooh. And then he climbed up that one, and what could I do? Confused. I didn't know what to do. He went down and swam past over there. And I forgot to press record at first. And when he swam, I pressed record so I have a video. There was a flock of ducks swimming. He went towards them, but they were swimming away.
Was he swimming fast?
The current was strong, but he wasn't swimming fast. Could a man swim away from a bear? Well, I don't know.
If he gets scared, he'll swim away. He wants to live.
That's a terrific hut there.
Yeah, it's a surveyor's hut from the 50s. It was filmed in the movie Young Russia. This is where Lomonosov was whipped, and this hut was actually in the frame. This is where people dry seaweed for themselves, you see.
You can come here with a tent.
Yes, this is a nature preserve that has territories for tourism and recreation development. This is a separate project in Karelia, and we rent a part of the territories. We are involved in this project and we organize tours and other things here on the island. Plus, we organize camping sites and there are toilets. For example, this camp is actually stationary. You can buy yourself a tour program, come here for 5 or 7 days. There are tents here and you will be given a sleeping bag. There is a mobile sauna, there are cooks who will make you 3 meals a day.
And how much does it cost?
It varies, but on average it's $325 per person for a week.
So you can live here and swim in the White Sea?
Yes, of course you can swim. The only thing that is difficult to develop tourism in this legislative situation so far. We are bearing all burdens. We pay rent, we do fire protecting, cleaning on island and so on. So we both pay rent and develop tourism. We would like not to pay rent, for example. If the state would somehow loosen this mechanism, I think such territories would become very popular. So far, there are these difficulties, but we are working with them. It's okay.
Oh, Victoria, can we jump in? We are in a small village on the White Sea, Rabocha Ostrovsk. It is this village that became part of the film The Island. Behind me, there's a set. The film crew searched for a long time for a small abandoned skeet. Eventually, they found it. There was an observation tower and a barn, which have been turned into a church. There are no domes or crosses now. But this is actually a set left over from the film. They filmed here 15 years ago and it's still there. And if you have seen the film The Island, you'll recognize these places. And so this place has become another attraction, a tourist magnet, because even filming locations, film sets, may also be a tourist sightseeing spot. So if you happen to come to Rabocha Ostrovsk, or if you suddenly decide to swim to Solovetsky or look at some neighboring islands, find time to come here and talk about really stunning views. And the locals have made a bridge, a bench, a table here. You can probably have a picnic. Someone left a small BBQ there. All in all, this place is incredibly beautiful and cool, and one of the famous attractions of this small village. In the locality of Zalaroga, near Belomorsk, it is possible to see petroglyphs. Petroglyphs of ancient people. Their age is estimated at 5,000 to 6,000 years. They are some of the first works of art. Local petroglyphs were discovered twice. The first time was in 1936, when the expedition found 216 separate drawings. And then in 2005, thanks to a new method of research, many new figures were discovered. In the end, it turned out that there were many more petroglyphs. Of course, if there is an interaction between man and animal shown, it is predominantly the man like to carve out the tactics of hunting this or that animal. Here we can see an autumn hunting in water. For example, here you see a boat, the head of the totem animal, presumably an elk. Then comes the keel, the hull itself, and in this case humans are depicted as sticks. That is the hunting during the migration. A certain group of people trace the herd and understand that in this area the animals will cross the waterway. They call a settlement, line them up along the bank of this river, but when the animals enter this river, the people start chasing them down the river, and people start hunting these animals. It is easier to hunt ungulates in water than to chase a deer or an elk through a forest all summer and not catch them. One of the most famous in the world, these three archers are the oldest images of archers in the world. We see three hunters, and the last one and the one next to it have a hunter's backpack, but the first hunter doesn't. The thing is that the first hunter is a younger hunter who is trained to hunt the forest animals. He doesn't deserve this rucksack. So he goes ahead and tramples the path. There is a white whale in the sea, and just here we see a beluga whale, its tail, trunk and fins, and the beluga whale child, here it is, its tail, trunks and fins, a small one. This scene is interesting because it is of a natural slope, while the very structure of these belugas whipping resembles scales. But of course the white whale has no scales, and here it is for the artwork. And during the rains, this puddle overflows and water begins to run down the white whale. Due to its texture, it should create an impression that beluga whale comes to life and starts moving. Those are ancient human animations, cartoons. Shall I show you an intercourse of two people?
Yes, of course.
First, there's a tree, branches down, that is the herringbone, and under the tree there are two people. The first one, head, torso, leg, arm, and the second one, head, torso, leg, arm. And they are connected by the sexual organ that is love under the tree. And here is the scene of the conception of the child. In its straight line there are two pregnant women. And further in a straight line there is a woman who is giving birth. The woman is shown as a giving birth. Below is another person depicted, head, torso, leg, and arm, reaching out to this woman. The woman here is in labor.
Well, how did you like it? Have you ever seen anything like that before? The petroglyphs shocked me, and I'm sure Karelia has much more to surprise me with. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. We're just getting started.